What are they doing with this mana? Greetings, everyone. I'm glad to be here, and I am glad that you are here. Today's jank is in Historic, and we are mainly trying to take advantage of a couple of things. First and foremost, we are trying to take advantage of Duelist Heritage. Whenever one or more creatures attack, you may have target attacking creature gain double strike until the end of turn. So, if we have trampling creatures, very specifically, Geistpack Alpha, Primal Adversary, Tenacious Pup, granting trample counters to whomever we wish, and Elder Gargaroth, trample and double strike go really well together, folks, as Embercleave has taught us, no doubt, right? So we are trying to do our best to, get double strike onto our trampling creatures, right? Beyond that, we're trying to take advantage of a little bit of the perpetual mechanic and things like that from alchemy, and I think we can do a reasonably good job of that with this current shell. We'll find out. But Ravenous Pursuit, our primary interaction in this deck, is a 2-mana bite spell where target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. So it's not a fight, it's a bite. Choose a creature card in your hand. It perpetually gets +X/+X, where X is the amount of excess damage dealt this way. So if our 4/3 kills a 1/1, we can give a creature in our hand +3/+3, right? Forever. So then we can also throw counters around. Luminarch Aspirants, right? Tenacious Pups. Paladin Class, another interesting card here. Kind of backup Duelist's Heritage. It makes things difficult on controlling counterspell style decks since their spells cost more to cast. It also makes our creatures larger later on, and if we level it up enough times, can give attacking creatures double strike as well, or an attacking creature double strike, right? So it's similar to Duelist Heritage, but gives us some backup copies. These do technically work together. You can, if you have 2 of them out, you can give 2 separate creatures double strike. But this deck doesn't really want to go wide so much. It's mainly trying to go tall, right? Where we make 1 7/7 trample double strike or something, right? So giving multiple creatures double strike is much less good than giving at least 1 creature double strike. So we do want extras, but having the additional utility I think is good there. As far as other cards in the deck, we're currently trying to abuse Adanto Vanguard as well. Very, very strong magic card. It can gain indestructible, right? So if it's a 3/1 while it's attacking there, Duelist Heritage can give that double strike. So it can attack very, very aggressively. If we can give it +1/+1 counter, trample, and vigilance, and hopefully double strike, holy cow, folks, we are in business in a very real way, right? As far as other cards in the deck, the Geistpack Alpha, when it dies, seek a permanent card, mana value equal to the number of lands you control. Then Hollowhenge Wrangler, also hoping to make sure we don't flood out any extra lands we draw beyond our 5th land. We can just discard to get Hollowhenge Beasts, right? And, of course, some Elder Gargaroth. And to round things out, we have Garruk, Wrath of the Wilds. That also kind of takes advantage of the perpetually mechanic a little bit as well. Creature card in our hand perpetually gets +1/+1 and gains the spell costs 1 less to cast. So we can make our, remaining creatures in hand cheaper, things like that. It also allows us to draft one of the 15 cards in the spell book directly onto the battlefield, right? And then theoretically gives us an overrun later, but not super likely to happen often. We're mainly going to be +1ing and -1ing for the most part in this deck, right? That said, let's go see if it works, right? All right, folks, here we are. This is a good hand, I think. Ninja Boy, our opponent. Adanto Vanguard is a really, really strong card, so we're going to hang on to it. The Ravenous Pursuit is much better if we also have a creature in hand, which we don't have currently, but the Tenacious Pup being able to put a trample and vigilance counter, as well as the 1/1 counter on Adanto Vanguard, is definitely good, so we're pretty happy about that. Hey, Hollowhenge Wrangler does give us a card to Ravenous Pursuit onto. That much is good. Going to get him for 1. I suppose we should have done that post-combat. Like, there's really no reason to show them what we're casting. I don't think it really matters, but, you know, at the end of the day, it was still the better play, I think. Oh, crud. And a Fauna Shaman. Well, all of these things are bad, honestly. Well, let's go ahead and get in. See what happens. Yeah, this is exactly what we expected. So, do we kill the Fauna Shaman or the Goblin Anarchomancer? The thing we're worried about most with the Goblin Anarchomancer is if they have Collect Company. Problem is they also already have Llanowar Elves as well. So if they have a land drop, they can do it anyway. I think we're going to try and mitigate as much of the damage as possible. Wait a minute. It doesn't say. Interesting. Folks, that's something I never really noticed. For some reason, I always thought Adanto Vanguard got +2/+0 until the end of turn. It doesn't. It's just as long as it's attacking. Well, apparently you learn something new every day. How about them apples, huh? Not an interaction that's ever come up before, but I was counting on that extra +2/+0 because then it gets to go right onto the Hollowhenge Wrangler here, you know? So not a huge deal, but kind of a little deal at least. All right, opponent. Okay, well, you know, let's attack and see what our opponent does here. We're expecting them to just trade with the Elvish Visionary because it does net gain them damage. Like this would attack as a 2-power creature, and then Rage Forger is going to deal 1 damage. So in this way, we end up taking 1 extra damage, but we also get rid of a creature. So if they have more Rage Forgers or anything like that, you know, it is potentially advantageous for us. That said, I think we are going to Garruk, Wrath of the Wilds, and we're actually going to put a creature onto the battlefield. Hey, 2 of them? Is that right? Or is it better to Marasa Root Grazer? Let's do the Root Grazer just because it has more toughness, and it has the vigilance here. So we're... Oh, I was going to say, we're hoping to fade a Collected Company here. They had 2. That is very fortunate for our opponent. And they hit the Rage Forger. Darn it. Yeah. Well, this is going to make it much harder, folks, for sure. Holy cow. No. I believe that is GG. I don't think we can come back from this. Wow, they didn't even bother attacking. I mean, that gives us a shot then. Because we get to now... Elder Gargaroth is a 7/7. We can't really attack with the... No, stop that. Adanto Vanguard here because, like, they just get to easily block it with a 5/5. Holy cow! Opponent, this is unreasonable. They're... The single card in their deck that they are most interested in getting is Collected Company. And they've had 3 in the top 18 cards here. Come on. Oh my gosh. Is it too much to ask for a whiff here, folks? You know, they got 3 Collected Companies. Alright, well, that's certainly not, you know, an amazing hit by any means. But that is a lot of power and toughness still. So, inconvenient. They're obviously looking for the Harmonic Prodigies to try and just kill us with attacks. Let's see. We really wanted... If we had been able to get Duelist Heritage there and attack with, you know, a 7/7 double strike Trample Vigilance, that would have put our opponent in a little bit of an awkward situation, at least. You know, they would have had to do a fair amount of blocking here. As it stands, though, this is unlikely to be enough. Let's grab a card from the spellbook then, I guess. All right, well, Garruk's Uprising. Darn it. All right. Yeah. Get to seek a land. Get to draw another card. It is an Elder Gargaroth. Our opponent has been, like, hesitant here. So that much is good. You know, maybe they'll give us some more time. We'll find out. You know, if they come up with the Hold It in. What are they doing with this mana? Oh my goodness. You know, yeah, if we get Duelist Heritage or something, like, you know, this, we could still survive if they continue to be hesitant on their attacks. We'll have to actually do the math. They have 3 Rage Forgers. Holy cow, folks. That's something. Well, that's still not what we were looking for. But this one. So, Tenacious Pup and an Elder Gargaroth. Unfortunately, the Trample and Vigilance counters aren't overly helpful because it already has Trample and Vigilance. But I want to get, when we get to a point where we are giving a thing double strike, if we ever make it to that point, we would, we need a creature large enough to make things truly difficult on our opponent, you know? And we have yet to see that, unfortunately. Yeah, this is awkward. Please, deck. All right, Elvish Visionary is actually a really good card for our opponent. They have plenty of mana, and this does give them a redraw as well as another body. Just, you know, more power and toughness onto the board. Opponent gets another land. Oh, is this a Banefire or something? It might be, folks. It might be. No, deck! Please! Alright, well, Garruk Wrath of the Wilds. I guess the Nessian Hornbeetle onto the battlefield. And alright, let's see. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. This is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Well, I mean, I'm not particularly thrilled about this, but I think we do get to attack now. So this could be victory. It depends on what they've got here. Like, what is that card? Because remember, they bolted in, right? And I'm worried about that. We're gonna draw a card. We're actually gonna gain 3 life as well, just in case. The land, not great. Okay. But remember, folks, these all have vigilance, so, you know, we still have blockers back. Not as many as before, and they have to do a fair amount of blocking here. If my math is correct, they might just be dead, but it also, you know, again, it depends on what is in their hand. All right. Opponent team blocking an Elder Gargaroth. Unsurprising. Again, these are things that are going to be important to do. And they scoop them up. Okay. Well, folks, I did not expect that outcome. I think our opponent was too hesitant, honestly. I don't know. I guess it would have... I should have been doing the math. I was kind of caught up in worry there. When your opponent gets 3 collected companies, you don't expect to win the game, you know? But if our opponent had been attacking with their 2 Rage Forger, you know, once they had 2 Rage Forgers down, I have to believe our blocks would have been unfavorable and stuff. The deal is they let us get an advantage on board. And admittedly, once this Elder Gargaroth came down, things got complicated. So, I don't know. I'm not sure if we earned that or our opponent punted that. But I'll take it either way. So, GG. Alright, folks. This is a little awkward because our Overgrown Farmland is actually a tap land here, which is really annoying. Starting on turn 1 Llanowar on the play would be dream come true here, but I think we're going to keep it anyway. Unfortunately. If we draw into a green source next turn, we would be pretty happy about that. No! Thoughtseize is abysmal for us. Yeah, they're probably just going to take the Ravenous Pursuit because it's their only real interaction. Of course, they might not even have very many creatures. They might not care about this. Yeah, so they just take the Llanowar? Sure. Yeah. Inconvenient, folks. We do need a land now, or we're just kind of up the creek without a paddle. Another Thoughtseize. No. Take our Primal Adversary. Maybe Garruk. It depends on how easily... They might not have good removal for Garruk, so they might take that. There's 0% chance they take a Hollowhenge Wrangler here. It's just as good in the bin as it is on the battlefield. Well, not just as good, but pretty much just as good. Yeah, indeed. They do take the Garruk. Hey, that's a good one, though. Opponent takes one. The World Tree comes down. Interesting. Opponent going to kill our Primal Adversary, almost certainly. No, it's Heartless Act. Okay. Opponent drops to 10. Well, we're going to do Tenacious Pup. Gain another life, up to 22. Opponent on 4 mana does a Solemn. Finds a land. And... yeah. I mean, I wouldn't describe myself as thrilled about this situation. But it's fine. We're going to go ahead and attack for 6, drop them down to 4, and we are holding a 9/9 in our hand. Okay. I mean, again, not thrilled about that, but it's fine. Geistpack Alpha comes off the top. It gets counters from our Tenacious Pup. It is now Trample and Vigilant. Mind Stone comes down. Is Apocalypse going to kill Geistpack Alpha? Mastermind's Acquisition. Searching for a 1-mana removal spell? What could that be? They haven't had a permanent leave the battlefield this turn, so I don't think... Just gonna Thoughtseize? Okay, sure. Alright, we got you, Apocalypse. This is one of those times, folks, that, thoughts, or, you know, like Hand Disruption, Thoughtseizes, Inquisitions, Kozilek, things like that. They always feel really bad. But you have to back them up, right? Our opponent was 1-for-1ing the crud out of us. But at the end of the day, we got a clock down and just kept attacking. Admittedly, our opponent also... well, them losing 2 life here didn't really matter. We already had lethal on board, but they took 4 of their own life. That did shorten their clock against them, you know? So just Hand Disruption, even though it is good, and I'm not insinuating it's bad, it surely is good, you have to do something else as well. So sometimes in this style deck, you got to be careful with Hand Disruption because you're not doing anything else, right? If our opponent had been able to resolve a Planeswalker or something like that, acquire incremental advantage since they're slowing the game down, then it's a lot better. In this case, they could not. So, GG, Apocalypse. GG. Folks, we're up against Pentaspritz. And yeah, we're gonna get out of this. Start with Temple Garden tapped and progress into Adanto Vanguard. Depending on the context of the situation, we may just jam the Duelist Heritage. Adanto Vanguard being a 3-power attacker that's removal resistant is a really quick clock. We might also advance the board with Primal Adversary. It will depend. Soul Guide Lantern for our opponent. Yep, just going to jam the Duelist Heritage. Hey. Okay. If they have Spell Pierce, I'm pretty sad. But that would be unexpected. I think our opponent's trying to do Delirium style stuff here. All right, opponent takes 3. Takes 3 more, down to 14. Opponent sacrificing Soul Guide Lantern, advancing their Delirium. And drawing a card. Steam Vents Sulfur Falls on the board for our opponent thus far. 8 cards in hand. Shocks in a Steam Vents. Okay. Well. Combat. We will indeed give it Double Strike. Don't mind if we do. Opponent. Pismari commands it. Well, we're going to give it Indestructible. Don't mind if we do. I'm going to create a treasure token. Yep. Yep. Opponent drops to 6. We will Temple Garden tapped and Primal Adversary. No lands. Becoming wolves. And Pentaspritz does have 4 mana available, plus a land drop, so potential for 5. Hasn't really done much else yet, though, and sure enough. Gotcha! Gotcha! Alright. Feels good, man. Feels good. Alright, folks. We are back. We are back. And honestly, the deck did fine. We had a couple of situations where we got just a little bit unlucky. We ended up going 3-3 in the games I played. So 50% is not quite the mark we would want to hit. But in fairness, I also think we got just a little bit unlucky on more than one occasion there. So I would like to see maybe, you know, we might end up playing this on stream or something because I think there's a little bit of potential here. But I also feel like it was a little bit unrealized due to some circumstances beyond our control, you know, just being what it is. But I do think there's definitely some room for improvement. First of all, we got tempoed pretty hard by a blue-red deck. By just them fading hope, or, you know, fading hope, removal spell, fading hope, things like that, you know, and then able to kill us. And they had flying. Importantly, currently we don't really have much interaction here for flying. For some reason, when I put Garruk Wrath of the Wilds in here, I was under the impression that there would have been some reach, but apparently in the spellbook there's really not. And that ended up putting us in an awkward position more than one time. It also was a little bit slow for the deck. I didn't expect it to be as slow because I figured worst case scenario, we play it minus and get a not great creature, but we pay 4 mana, leave behind a planeswalker, and get, you know, a 2 or 3 mana creature. And most of these, you know, these are all 2 and 3 mana. So it can only just get so bad, right? Well, it didn't end up playing that way very well, you know? So I think it's quite possible that this needs to become something else. It's also possible the Geistpack Alphas were good. At least they felt good, you know? For the Duelist Heritages and getting counters and maybe Ravenous Pursuiting onto and things like that. So it's quite possible we want to go maybe just like this is enough. But I think it's also possible we want some reach or something, right? I was thinking Elder Gargaroth might be enough, and maybe it is. Maybe it's not. So we might consider going that direction. Maybe even go with some flying at the 3-drop slot and, you know, worry less about the trample and maybe go with, like, who knows, maybe Rydane? The God of the Worthy. The fly, it already has Vigilance, so flying and Vigilance, giving it Double Strike, you know, maybe throwing some counters around. Those things seem pretty okay. The fact that it also slows down Collected Company decks and stuff, or if we ended up against a mono red deck, maybe the Valkmir's Shield, we could probably consider doing that. It isn't reach, but of course, again, it's flying. At least it blocks relatively well. the problem with Rydane for me specifically is it's not great against Arclight Phoenix. It's just going to trade, and then they're going to get their Arclight Phoenix back next turn. So, I don't know. If you folks have recommendations that direction, please let me know. We also mentioned in the games that maybe we would like a Kogla just as a 6-drop. So if Geistpack Alpha dies, we can go and get a 6-drop. And I don't know if that's going to be worth it or not, because sometimes you're going to draw the 6-drop, right? Like that's, you know, you put cards in your deck, sometimes you draw them. And it would slow our hand down quite a bit if we ended up having to just hold on to a 6-drop, you know, for a ridiculously long time, right? So, I don't know. But definitely let me know in the comments below how you guys feel about that. And, you know, maybe we might end up even playing it on stream, you know, just to see how things go. That said, I appreciate all of you folks watching this far, and you folks have a fantastic day. I will catch you all next time. Opponent, GG.